Hello critters, welcome back to my channel, welcome to my channel if you're new here. Sorry if I sound a little sniffly, I'm a little bit under the weather today, but to be fair, I always am. So, it's gonna get right into it. Today I'm going to be talking about the Tanner Cook situation, so here's my intro. But anyways, I just want to get right into the video today. So we all know about YouTube pranksters, I think, and like pranksters from other platforms, of course. And I'm sure no one under the age of 7 actually enjoys the content of the modern prankster. I remember back in my day when pranks used to be like fun and harmless, but here we are today where pranks, quote unquote, are actually just harassment and can end up in very dangerous situations for both parties involved. And I feel like most people have heard about the Tanner Cook situation and what all went down there, and if you didn't, I'll give you a quick recap. So this YouTube prankster, Tanner Cook, ended up literally getting shot after filming a prank in a mall a few months back. And he was fine after it, of course, but basically what happened is that he was filming a prank where he was playing some text-to-speech and invading this guy's personal space, ignoring when he was asking him to back off and stop, and just continuing to get up in his personal space until, well, the man shot him. And the man who he was quote unquote pranking was a DoorDash driver named Alan Coley, who was at the mall just to pick up an order when Tanner just started harassing him to the point where, of course, we know what happened. Tanner was brought to a hospital and ended up being okay almost immediately from the hospital, saying that he was going to continue making videos after that. So much for our prayers that a YouTube prankster actually learned a GD lesson for once and would make better content, but anyways, so that's what happened a few months back, and the verdict for Coley just came out, and I want to talk a bit about it and Tanner's reaction because, like, I'm mad. It's screwy. Well, not the verdict itself, but just the whole situation makes me a little, ugh. So, if that makes sense. So there was clear video footage that was even released, and of course I'm not showing it here because it shows a guy getting shot of the incident. But in that video, you can clearly see how uncomfortable Coley was and how frightened he must have been in the way that Tanner would, again, not leave him alone. One thing people have said about the situation a lot is that pranksters need to be careful because you never know who you're messing with these days and what those people are going through, but I also want to give the flip side of that, being that Coley was minding his own business when this very large man and his friend started getting up in his personal space, refusing to back off even when he asked multiple times. Now, if I was in that situation in today's day and age, I would absolutely assume that Tanner was trying to hurt me or try and start an altercation because just the way that he's getting up in his space, of course. And of course, Tanner is very much larger than Coley and is just not listening to him, not like reacting to him, asking him to back off at all. It's a really scary situation. I don't know if that's just me. Again, you never know people's intentions, but Tanner seemed really kind of freaky in that video. Like, he had this, like, dead-eyed stare at Coley as he stayed, like, right on him, even as Coley tried to leave the situation. Which should have been his cue to back off, of course, and of course invading strangers' personal space is never okay anyways. But nevertheless, it even seemed like Tanner was trying to prevent him from leaving the situation, which is also a big no-no, of course. That just shows an intention of harm, I feel like, because of course Coley has no clue that Tanner was filming a prank, and was obviously scared. Like, if someone just came up to me and was not letting me leave and all from my personal space, I would be freaked the hell out, too. So now, of course, I'm not saying firing a weapon in enclosed space with other people is a good or legal idea. That's kind of the big charge that I'll explain it in a second, but I'm saying in a moment of panic and self-defense, I could see that side in a public space. I feel like the course of action could have been to try and alert the people around him, alert security, etc. But of course I can attest to the fear that he was feeling in that moment, plus anything else he was going through. And it was obviously just a moment of panic. He wasn't like going in with the intention to be like, I'm going to shoot someone when I go into the mall and pick up my DoorDash order. Not to mention I'm gonna put my own little perspective in here. I was a DoorDash driver a bit in the past, and I had dealt with several uncomfortable and somewhat dangerous situations in the nature of work, of going to many different places and delivering to people's addresses, and I had my fair share of being on edge as hell for self-defense when someone would act creepy towards me, because I'm a 5'3" little guy, and again, delivering to all kinds of people and going to all kinds of places isn't exactly the safest work to be doing. So I could also give that perspective a bit because you just never know, and it's not a very safe job. I mean, of course, it's probably like more dangerous jobs, but being a DoorDash driver, it's like you never know who you're going to interact with, where you're going, all of those types of things. It was just I was on edge a lot. I, you know, But anyways, moving on. Again, shooting someone is not really a proper response, but I can understand the thought process. So, in the end, the jury ended up finding him not guilty of aggravated malicious wounding and malicious wounding by use of a firearm, but guilty of malicious discharge of a firearm within an occupied dwelling. So basically, the charges were dropped for him kind of like attacking him because I think it was because of the self-defense and the clear footage where he was fearing for his life. But of course, again, just the danger of firing a weapon in an enclosed space with other people could have gone much more wrong. And again, even with that self-defense angle, and I'm not a lawyer, of course, some people mentioned this. I saw some people saying that the sentence might be reduced even further on that, with the staunch evidence of him fearing for his life in that released video. Because as far as I know, like, you can kind of with charges like with self-defense, if you really fear for your life, there's always going to be that wiggle room of not thinking of the law in the first place, or like having that sound judgment going on if you really think that your life is in danger, which I mean, I can definitely it kind of I can see where that could come from. So what is Tanner doing in response to all this? Uh he was on news following leaving the courtroom with his mother, and it was interesting to say the least. Of course, neither of them are owning up to anything. Tanner's saying he's going to continue making videos, and even his mom is being asked something. He comes up behind her and makes a stupid face at the camera for some reason, and she laughs at him like it's just some silly thing for her son to do, like he didn't get shot for harassing a man in public. And it's pretty sickening to see the enabling of this behavior here, especially as when the mother is asked if she supports him, she gives the usual, I support my son does, and it's all in God's plan, which, like, okay, see where that gets him. I definitely don't doubt that she is very anxious about the situation and probably was very afraid for what happened, like having her son almost like maybe get killed because of a stupid thing that he did, but just you can kind of see that instead of being like her as his mother trying to tell him like this is not good, stop doing this, she's like, oh, I just support him. It's like you kind of have to a degree. I don't know. It just kind of shows maybe why he's this way a little bit. Of course, I'm not gonna like insult her parenting, but I mean, it's a little clear that there's some kind of enabling going on there. And meanwhile, douchebag McGee is taking his sunglasses on and off and saying it's all God's plan, acting like some flanderization of a cool guy movie character, as he says he's not going to change, and ending it off with something about Coley finding Jesus. So, like, basically, he doesn't give a shit. Um, it's really cringe watching this part of him trying to leave, and he's just trying to act like it doesn't affect him, but he is, of course, just trying to put on that front of, I don't know, being ironic or something. I don't know. I think he's just total douchebag. His audience is literal 7-year-olds who are going to see him and go, "Oh, this guy is cool," which is not good. That's not good. But basically, and this brings me to my point in this video. So if Tanner has no remorse for what happened and even saw the way his videos and channel got that much more attention because of how big this became, does that mean he's only going to continue harassing people and upping his antics until something like this happens again? And I put my bets on yes. This is what I think is so dangerous about YouTube and other platforms not taking action against real dangers like this. It will only continue to encourage people like this to do crazier and crazier things until someone ends up even more seriously injured. And pranksters in general these days are a plague on this earth, and if the websites these people are on don't take action in denouncing such actions, then this is only going to just get worse. We see that in Kick as a platform too, where Fusi, the other content creator, this guy literally swatted himself while Kick celebrated his views, and the rewarding of these content creators for dangerous actions is just creating a feedback loop in which something really bad is bound to happen to either the content creator or a victim of theirs in the process of trying to get as many views as possible. And I think that's pretty dystopian. Yeah, and especially with the idea of how these content creators have such young audiences. Because again, no one over the age of 7 is watching these videos and going, oh my god, that's so cool what he's doing, this is so funny. Because it's literally just like watching someone harass something. I think the only people who are watching him over the age of 7 are watching to see the train wreck. But the thing is that since he has such a young audience and that he's promoting this as like being some cool guy thing, and like he is showing how much attention he gets for it, it's just going to also have these kids seeing this content and copying, because there's also that kid that got killed that one time because he was doing a YouTube prank, quote unquote, of pretending to rob a guy. And I think that was probably based on him seeing other YouTube pranksters doing similar things, but of course this one wasn't staged and he ended up getting killed for it, so I mean, I just think that's just going to keep happening until these platforms end up taking a stand against this dangerous content. But anyways, that's about it for the video. Let me know what you think. In lieu of talking about Kick briefly, I want to mention I'm actually working on a pretty long video about the dangers of Kick streamers and the way the platform itself rewards dangerous content. But that's for another time, so stay tuned for that. If you have any thoughts, make sure to leave them below, video ideas, etc. Leave a like, subscribe even. Would be awesome, JK, unless... On that note, I'll see y'all in the next video, so bye.